Hey everyone, this is Chris from Smithy Fitness. Welcome back to my channel. It's good to see you, and it's been about 3.5 weeks, so it's been a while. The title of my last video was finding it difficult to keep my message uplifting and also keeping it real because things had kind of gone south a bit with the stock market and most especially with my mother. And since that time, about 10 days ago, my dad passed away. So my dad was 98, so he'd lived a full life, and he was really quite healthy right till the end. He fell and broke his hip, and 2.5 days later he was gone. So it was a little bit of a surprise, even though he was 98, and you kind of expect it to happen anytime your parents above 85, I guess. Anyway, he was quite the guy. Spent 5 years in World War II. Was married to my mom for about 69.5 years. And he was always fit. He was a good example for us. He was a bit of a tough old guy, but he never let himself get out of shape. And even in his 80s, he was still catching those house flies when they're buzzing around. And as me, a guy in my 40s, I had a tough time doing that. So he was proud of that. And I have really good memories of my dad. Anyway, it sort of got in the way of training, as you might imagine. I missed a few days. And then when I came back, it was, a little bit slow getting my full momentum going. But in this video, I'm going to show some of the highlights I've had over the past few weeks and talk a little bit about them. So we'll start with Snatch. So I was doing 57 kilos was my best about 2 months ago on Snatch. And clean and jerk was 81. And the frustrating thing, kilos, and the frustrating thing is I really haven't got close to those numbers since, or not very close, especially with Snatch. So it's a very complicated lift, and we're always trying to fix technique, and your brain gets involved very much in what you're doing, and it can kind of mess with things in the big sense. So here we go. So here's some snatches. Let's start with a couple of doubles at 45 that I just did this past Saturday. As you're watching, you can see I'm trying to keep the bar close to me as I'm coming up through the knees, to my knees, and then throwing from the waist and catching the straight arms. So these are actually two pretty good doubles. I think that day I did about 8 doubles at 45 kilos. Again, that's only about 80% of my max, so nothing too heroic. And now here's a 52 kilo snatch that I did, I guess that was 2 Saturdays ago. I was just coming back. Not bad. I missed, I think I made 6 that day and missed 2, but I also missed a couple at 50 kilos. And that's been the thing. I've been missing a lot at the lighter weights, and it's been kind of frustrating. So I got to take my ego out of it a little bit and just accept the process that it's gonna take a while. And to do it right, I've got to get the technique dialed in, and that's what I've been working on. So I also did some snatch from the hang. So if you look here, we've got 2 double of snatch hang from the hang at 48 and a double at 49. I'm really proud of these. These look good. You can see how upright my back is. I'm catching the bar low. And man, I'm telling you, as a 59-year-old, it is tough to get into that position. It's tough to get in that position as a 25-year-old or a 15-year-old without doing significant work to get your mobility. So those are really good. I feel like I really am making progress. So that was, 48 and 49 kilo doubles. And then here's a couple of shots of some, we call it snatch balance or drop snatch. I guess CrossFit called it snatch balance. Anyway, what I'm doing here is just taking the bar off the rack, as you can see, and then thrusting it overhead and trying to drop down nice and deep at the same time. So this is not bad. I think if you look at them, I could probably get a little bit lower than I did. And again, it's the nice thing about videotaping your lifts is that you get to see rather than just feel it. And when I did it, I felt I was pretty deep. And now watching it, I realized there's probably another 4 inches or so for me to get to full depth. So that was the 55 and 57. And let's see, okay, and then from there, let's go and have a look at some clean and jerks. Let's start with a power clean and 2 push press. So the power clean is when you catch the bar high, and then the push press is just bending of the knees but not rebending, which is what the jerk is. So not bad. Shoulder strength counts a lot. I'm doing some pressing to try to build my shoulders up, and that's actually been working. My press has improved. So again, 2 weeks ago I did a clean and jerk at 77 kilos. The best I've done is 81. This 77 is actually quite good. The arms need to be straight in the jerk, and on that first 77, that's really good. You can see in this next video I do 2 cleans at 77. This was just this past Saturday, and a jerk. And the cleans are great. My elbows are high on the catch, but the jerk, elbows are a little bit bent, so I've really got to work on that. Part of that is mobility, and part of that is just thrusting enough to be able to straighten those arms. We call it a press out. If you catch it here and then squeeze it out like that. In Olympic lifting, that's a bad lift, and it will be turned down by the judges. So I don't want to go down that road. So after that, we've got jerk from the rack of 80 kilos. Not bad. Again, elbows probably a little bit bent, but 80 is the most I've done from the rack since I've been back. Happy with that. And then the next one here is power clean. So I did 2 of them at 71 kilos. I haven't tested for my max. I suspect I've got 75, maybe even more. So that's kind of cool. I'd like to build that up a little bit higher, maybe get to an 80 kilo power clean by the time this is done. So yeah, that was pretty good. Then on to back squat, 120 back squat. So that's great. Form is pretty good. I had a spotter because I wasn't convinced I was going to be able to get up with it. But again, looking at the video, it looks like I've got more than the 120. The most I've ever done is 128. So 120 is about 265 pounds. The most I've done is 128, which is, I don't know, 285, let's say. And I'd like to beat that in the next few months. Maybe I can hit a 130 and do an all-time PR at age 59, which either shows that I'm doing amazing now or that I was pathetically weak before in my life. So we're not sure about that. And this next video or picture is of a car I'm thinking of buying. Let me know what you think of that. I think it's totally cool, and hopefully in the next 2 weeks I can show you a picture of it in my driveway. That's an Audi. All right, so look, overall, this whole process has taken me longer than I thought. The meet that I was really training for was this past Saturday, the 22nd of February. So I didn't do it because, as I explained in the last video, my progress wasn't fast enough. Plus I had all this personal stuff with my mom and dad happening in between. So now I'm looking out to, I believe it's June 14th, the Toronto Super Show, which is much like the Arnold that's held in, I think it's Columbus, I think. I could be wrong. But anyway, the Arnold is held right about now. And the Super Show is similar in Toronto. It's got all the bodybuilding, fitness competitions for the women. There's CrossFit, powerlifting, and weightlifting, karate, judo, wrestling, all sorts of great things at that convention. So it's a big one. It's a really big one, and hopefully in that one I'll be able to hit my numbers. Again, I'm looking for at least a 62 kilo snatch and a 90, but you know what? Let's make it a 91 clean and jerk. 91 kilos is the same as 200 pounds. I'd love to do 200 pounds. It definitely sets Ontario records and is a whisker of Canadian records as well in my age group. So lots to look forward to. I'm working hard, trying to stay as fit and healthy as I can, keeping my diet on point, eating lots of meat, as well as having some raw eggs. I have lots of cooked eggs as well. I know there's a little bit of controversy as to the healthiness of cooked eggs versus eggs that one drinks, but I do them both. The nice thing about drinking them, there's 6 eggs here. Oh, I forgot my protein powder. So It wouldn't taste all that good without the protein powder, although it wouldn't be terrible, but the protein powder, which is a chocolate, gives it some nice flavor. All right, so in here I've got 6 eggs, I've got a multivitamin, I've got some boron, I've got some brewer's yeast, and I threw in a little bit of coffee just for flavor. I'll shake it up good, because you don't want those eggs to be, you know, too sticky. And then cheers. So listen, thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And, you know, let me know what you're doing. If you're doing some training, how your parents are, if you're my age and you're in the sandwich generation with kids at home and elderly parents that need looking after. So I'll put out another video in a week. Please check in again. Thanks for watching. Cheers. And I'll talk to you in the next one.